GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. Tonight we'll look at how businesses and government offices are shifting their hours for the upcoming Quebec holiday and celebrate Emma Maltais signing a 2-year deal with the Victoire. Traffic will be light aside from minor construction delays. Over to you, Emma.
Tomorrow, Parc La Fontaine will host the Brown family alongside Thierry Larose and Bon Infant for a free outdoor concert celebrating Quebec's national holiday.
The concert begins at 6 p.m., featuring a blend of folk, indie, and traditional Quebecois tunes, and families are encouraged to bring picnics.
Local food trucks and artisanal vendors will line the park's main boulevard, offering poutine, maple treats, and handcrafted souvenirs throughout the evening.
Lots to get to, let's begin, as we turn to tonight's headlines and keep you informed about Montreal's latest happenings. Good evening, Montreal. Tomorrow, many local businesses and government offices will shift their operating hours to observe the Quebec national holiday. The city's municipal agencies have announced reduced service windows, with most offices opening later in the morning and closing early in the afternoon. Retailers across the island are following suit, some closing at midday while others will remain open with shortened evening schedules. Public services such as the City Hall, the Transit Authority, and provincial agencies are also adjusting, advising citizens to plan ahead for any required paperwork or appointments. The holiday, celebrated each year on June 24, marks the province's founding and prompts a citywide pause. The SDM has announced that bus routes will run on a holiday timetable, with reduced frequency on the orange and green lines. Residents are encouraged to check individual schedules, as variations will depend on the type of establishment and location within the island.
Emma Maltais has inked a 2-year contract with the Montreal Victoire, the reigning champions of the Professional Women's Hockey League. The forward, who spent the last 3 seasons with the Scepters, will join Victoire roster starting this season. The move was announced today at the team's downtown office, where club officials highlighted her speed and scoring touch as a perfect fit for a squad looking to defend its Walter Cup title. Victoire coach praised Maltais' experience and said the addition strengthens the forward group ahead of a busy schedule that includes home games at Place Bell. The signing marks a new chapter for the player, who hopes to contribute to another championship run while bringing her proven track record from the Scepters to the championship-winning lineup. Fans can expect to see her debut on the ice early next month as Victoire prepare for their opening match against the Toronto Six.
Today, Tennis Canada unveiled plans for a tennis stadium in the city, featuring a retractable roof. The venue is being designed to meet the expanding needs of the tour, giving organizers flexibility to host major matches regardless of weather. Officials say the stadium will complement the existing facilities that already draw ATP and WTA events each summer, reinforcing the island's reputation as a premier tennis destination. Construction is slated to begin later this year, with the goal of opening in time for international tournaments. The project promises to create jobs during the build phase and add a new landmark to the sports landscape, while offering fans a comfortable year-round viewing experience. City leaders noted the roof will keep matches on schedule during sudden showers or chilly evenings, a frequent hurdle for summer play here. They also said the addition should boost sponsorship deals and draw more visitors to the area.
The Quebec government announced today that its engineers will commence an unlimited general strike beginning on July 6. The walkout is set to start at the onset of the province's peak summer construction season, a period traditionally marked by high activity on roads, bridges, and public works projects. Officials indicated the strike will affect all government-run engineering services, from infrastructure maintenance to new development approvals. No specific end date was provided, and the government has warned that the disruption could extend for an indeterminate length of time. Workers have been given notice that the action will be coordinated across the entire engineering corps, with the aim of applying pressure during a time when construction demand is at its highest. The province's transportation and public works departments are preparing contingency plans to mitigate impacts on commuters and ongoing projects.
Saturday's torrential rains unleashed a flash flood across the West Island, sending water into dozens of homes and marking the 4th such event since 2017. City officials and municipal partners are now outlining a long-term response, focusing on sponge parks and underground retention basins that can absorb excess runoff. Engineers say the new measures aim to slow water flow and protect vulnerable neighborhoods while complementing existing drainage upgrades. The province will contribute funding, and the city plans to prioritize sites near the most affected streets before the next storm season. Residents who lost possessions are being directed to emergency shelters, and insurers have begun processing claims. Authorities stress that these permanent solutions are essential to break the cycle of repeated flooding in the West Island. The initiative will be reviewed by the city's engineering council later this month to ensure compliance with provincial environmental standards. We'll hear how residents cleaned Rue Fox after the third flood and the new contract rules impact. Stay tuned, we will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us. Up next, Emma Leclerc will take us through today's local stories right here in Montreal.
Residents on Rue Fox spent Monday clearing water and debris after a third flood drenched dozens of homes. The heavy rains over the weekend overwhelmed the narrow street in Pierrefonds, leaving basements soaked and personal belongings scattered. Some homes reported water rising to waist height, and children were seen splashing in the shallow pools while volunteers toiled. Neighbors formed impromptu crews, using buckets, pumps, and wet vacuum units to dry floors and move furniture back into place. For many families, this marks the third time this season they have had to confront rising water, a pattern officials say reflects the West Island's increasing flood risk. Utility crews arrived later in the day to assess damage to electrical lines and restore service. While the cleanup continues, local authorities are reviewing drainage improvements to prevent future inundations. The neighborhood hopes the collective effort will spare another weekend of displacement. Emma Leclerc.
Quebec's government announced on June 23 a plan to curb the practice of awarding public contracts solely on the basis of the lowest price. The new policy would lower the proportion of contracts decided purely by cost, shifting attention toward quality, sustainability, and long-term value. Officials say the current system often favors the cheapest bid, even when it may not meet broader performance criteria. By adjusting the evaluation framework, the province aims to give greater weight to factors such as technical expertise, delivery timelines, and environmental impact. The change is expected to be rolled out through revised procurement guidelines later this year, affecting ministries, municipalities, and agencies that manage public works, services, and infrastructure projects. Stakeholders have been invited to comment on the draft measures before they are formally adopted.
Simon Paré-Poupart's memoir about municipal waste collectors is set to reach a broader audience. The French-language title, Ordures, Journal d'un Vidanjeur, will be translated into English and distributed across the United States, Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, Japan, and South Korea. The launch is scheduled for 22nd of June. Strong sales in Quebec prompted the expansion, showing readers a day-to-day view of the people who keep streets clean. It spent several weeks atop the province's bestseller list, drawing attention from literary circles and municipal officials alike. The English edition aims to give Anglophone readers insight into the routines, challenges, and camaraderie of Quebec's waste collection crews. By bringing the stories to 6 new markets, the publisher hopes the vivid portrait of the job will resonate beyond provincial borders. Residents familiar with the daily truck routes may recognize the faces and moments described in the book.
Police are accused of deploying pepper spray at a private birthday celebration in Montreal Nord on June 22. The family hosting the party says officers entered the venue without warning, used the irritant, and left several guests with burning eyes and respiratory discomfort. They claim the force was unnecessary and that officers exceeded their authority. The incident adds to a wave of complaints about the department's use of crowd control tools, which has drawn scrutiny from civil groups and city officials. Police have not yet released a statement confirming the details of the operation. An investigation is now underway to determine whether protocol was followed and what disciplinary steps may follow. The family has filed a formal complaint with the Police Oversight Board, seeking accountability for what they describe as an unwarranted use of force. The case is expected to be reviewed by the Internal Affairs Unit in the coming weeks.
4 former greats have been named to this year's Hockey Hall of Fame class, a moment that will resonate with Canadian supporters across the province. Goaltender Carey Price, a native son who spent his entire career between the net for the Canadiens, joins Finnish netminder Pekka Rinne, former power forward Keith T. Tkachuk, and trailblazing forward Cindy Curley in the player category. The announcement came on June 22 during the Hall's ceremony in Montreal, where the inductees will be honored later this summer. Montreal families plan to attend the upcoming induction ceremony, hoping to celebrate the city's own hero among the honored. Their careers span more than 2 decades of championship runs, international medals, and groundbreaking achievements for women in the sport. Fans can look forward to seeing the names displayed alongside legends, as the hall celebrates contributions that shaped hockey history.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what tonight's skies have in store for us.
Tonight's weather snapshot, fresh from the city's streets, sets the scene for your evening plans. On this day, the all-time high for Montreal sits at 34.9 Celsius, recorded in 2025 when a late June heat wave surged across the province, pushing temperatures well above the usual summer norm. The all-time low is 9.2 Celsius, set in 2021 during an early summer cold snap that brought Arctic air unusually far south. By contrast, the climate normal high for June 23rd is about 24 Celsius, and the normal low hovers near 15 Celsius, so today's readings feel modest. Right now the city sits at 25 Celsius under partly cloudy skies, with humidity around 72% and a gentle breeze from the west at 13 kilometers per hour. The sun will dip at 8:46 this evening, and the UV index remains modest at 5, so sunscreen isn't a priority. As we move into the night, temperatures will slip to around 20 Celsius and a light rain will drift in around 7 o'clock, keeping the streets fresh. Winds will stay below 25 kilometers per hour, easing to a calm after midnight. There are no active weather alerts, so you can enjoy your evening plans without worry. Up next, let's glance at the 5-day outlook. Looking ahead, Wednesday will stay overcast with a high of 23 Celsius and a low near 15, so expect a steady, cool feel all day. Thursday brings another overcast spell, but the clouds will part for occasional showers, with a 60% chance of rain and a high of 24 Celsius, a gentle rise that won't feel hot. Friday's drizzle keeps the moisture around, the rain chance climbs to 65% and temperatures dip to 21 Celsius at the peak, staying comfortable for outdoor plans. Saturday brightens with partly cloudy skies, a high of 24 Celsius and a 20% rain chance, perfect for a weekend stroll. Finally, Sunday returns to overcast, high 23 Celsius, low 16, and a modest 25% rain chance, wrapping up the week with a calm, mild finish.
Traffic's light, but catch the Brown family concert, Price and Bergeron's Hall Honor and Wing Noodles showcase. Stay with us, we will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
The biggest slowdown right now is on Autoroute Bonaventure between Wellington Street and the Victoria Bridge. Expect a lane reduction and a steady crawl of about 15 minutes during peak. Next, Autoroute Descartes sees 2 work zones, one from SHAIR Brook Street to Queen Mary Road and another from Isabella Avenue to Monkland Avenue. Both sections are operating with 1 lane closed, adding roughly 10 minutes of delay. Further south, the Metropolitan at Lacordaire Boulevard is under temporary pavement work, causing intermittent stops, but traffic is moving. Overall, no accidents are reported and the rest of the network remains clear. For the afternoon, expect the construction delays to hold steady, but side streets around the work zones are generally flowing. Transit runs on schedule with no reported service changes. If you're heading downtown, consider the alternate routes on Rue Saint-Laurent or the Boulevard des Laurentides to avoid the bottlenecks.
Montreal erupts in celebration as the Fête Nationale du Québec fills streets and parks with parades, music and fireworks, reminding us why today feels uniquely ours. Later this afternoon, the Brown family joins Thierry Larose and Bon Enfant for a vibrant live set in Parc La Fontaine, a perfect soundtrack for a summer evening. Looking ahead, the Kizo Festival launches tomorrow at the Delta Hotel, bringing an international mix of Afro house, kizomba, and urban beats that will keep the dance floor alive through 26. And starting tomorrow on the banks of the Latching Canal, La Guinte du Sud Ouest opens its outdoor stage, food stalls and riverside vibes, promising a laid-back weekend for families and friends. And for jazz lovers, the world-renowned Festival International de Jazz de Montreal rolls out its first concerts next week, promising unforgettable nights of improvisation. Stay tuned, because Montreal's summer calendar is only heating up. And now here's Jason with sports.
Let's dive into the latest Montreal sports headlines shaping our summer. The Montreal Canadiens celebrated another milestone as veteran goaltender Carey Price and longtime forward Patrice Bergeron were inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Both were named to the 2026 class, joining fellow inductees Pekka Rinne, Keith T. Tkachuk, and Cindy Curley. The Canadiens' playoff run is over. Carolina eliminated Montreal in the Eastern Conference Final, with Logan Stankoven scoring one of 3 Hurricanes' first-period goals in Game 5. The Hurricanes advanced to the Stanley Cup Final. CBC Sports reports Montreal's promising postseason ends at the conference stage. An emotional goodbye in Montreal. Brendan Gallagher, described by CBC Sports NHL as the longest-serving Canadian, announced he is moving on from the only NHL franchise he has ever known. Gallagher said it is time to, quote, find a new home, closing the chapter on a lengthy career in blue, Blanquette Rouge.
Wing Noodles in the heart of Chinatown, Ville Marie, is once again the center of conversation, this time as the subject of a new exhibition that traces its decades-long journey. The showcase walks visitors through the Lee family's kitchen, the original storefront, and the evolving menu that has fed generations of Montrealians. Curators have gathered photographs, handwritten recipes, and oral histories, illustrating how the modest noodle shop became a gathering place for students, immigrants, and neighbors after long shifts. By highlighting wing noodles, the exhibition not only celebrates a beloved flavor but also reaffirms Chinatown's vibrant cultural identity, reminding us that food is the thread that ties our community together. I'm Mark Beaumont. Up next, we celebrate Wing Noodles' rebirth, a delicious tribute to Montreal's culinary heritage that's sure to warm your heart.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
On a breezy evening along the St. Lawrence waterfront, I'm standing beside the historic clock tower of the Old Port, the river catching the last amber light as the city settles into twilight. Across the water, a small group of commuters linger near the ferry dock, their conversations drifting with the scent of fresh pretzels and the distant hum of streetcars. Tonight's story comes from a few hours away in Ottawa, where the federal government has reached out to Alto, the company steering Canada's high-speed rail project. In a letter that read like an invitation to a neighbor, Ottawa asked Alto to consider adding Kingston as an extra stop along the corridor that already links Toronto, Peterborough, Ottawa, Laval, Montreal, Trois-Rivières, and Quebec City. Imagine a child in a downtown library, eyes wide as a model train glides across a map, dreaming of a future where a quick ride could bring grandparents from Kingston to a weekend market in Montreal. That simple request carries a promise: more families reunited, more students commuting for study, more shared festivals across the province. It's a reminder that when we reach out, the tracks we lay bring us all a little nearer.
Emma Leclerc, tonight we're on the Plateau Mont-Royal, standing outside a modest building that has sat empty for months while rents across the city have surged to almost $2,000 a month. Co-anchor, what you see here is a group of neighbors, students, a single mother with 2 toddlers, a retired carpenter who have taken matters into their own hands. Emma Leclerc, last week the local tenants association organized a pop-up meeting inside one of those vacant units. With donated paint, reclaimed wood, and a community garden kit, they transformed the space into a shared kitchen and a tiny play area. Co-anchor, I walked in and heard the soft hum of a radio while a little girl chased a butterfly-shaped mobile, her laughter echoing off freshly sanded floors. The carpenter who once built houses now builds hope, teaching the kids how to plant herbs in repurposed tins. Emma Leclerc, it's a vivid reminder that even as asking rents double, the spirit of Montreal can turn empty doors into open possibilities. Co-anchor, and that spirit is what keeps our city moving forward room by room together.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunset. Tonight's highlight, the new Montreal Stadium with its retractable roof, reminded us why our city keeps innovating. Stay tuned tomorrow for more stories that matter to you. I'm Mark Beaumont, wishing you a good night and see you then.